A comment that I've seen many times in the comment section of my videos is, why do I care so much? Why am I that bothered about Abu Dhabi 2021? And the honest answer is, the best way I've heard it put was on one of Boy10Dio's videos. And that is, the sport of Formula One and its creators are trying to subvert culture. The way I would put that is, because this is what I've known all the way along. I saw what happened in Abu Dhabi. I knew it was wrong. I knew that that was an injustice. I knew that a man had been robbed of a valid accomplishment. We were then presented with the media validating what had taken place and clearly not being outraged that such a thing could happen. Instead, they lied and they presented all sorts of diversions for people to argue about, to divert away from the fact that the sport itself had fixed an event and done so for its own agenda, that is the creation of money. That is fucked up. That is something that changes people's values. When you don't stand up for what is right in this world, then we are on a slippery slope. Culturally, we are on a slippery slope. We should have a moral compass. We should be able to accept what's right and what's wrong. And regardless of the things that you invest your emotion into, you should still be able to step back and determine whether something is right or whether something is wrong. What the sport of Formula One is doing is validating things that are wrong. And that is screwing up people's moral compasses. That is disgusting. So, this is a little video which is going to explain in extremely simple terms just how fucked up Formula One is. And I'm going to take you through 5 or 6 different sports. I'm going to make it easy for our Dutch friends, okay? Because the Orange Army doesn't seem to get this. Them brain dead fucking morons, radicalized fucks, okay? And I'm saying that because you are. You come here to the comment section to reasonable people, okay? This doesn't apply to reasonable people. This applies to the radicalized fucks that have got really fucked up heads. Really fucked up values. Okay? Hopefully you'll understand this. So, Sport 1, let's have a look at what sports we'll compare Formula 1 with. Cycling. So the Dutch, the Dutch know a few things. I mean, they like their clogs, they like their windmills, they like their flowers, they like their lightweight commercial vehicles, but they like cycling. And this man on screen has just broken the record for Tour de France stage wins. Mark Cavendish. Manxman. I mean, he cycles so fast because he's got 3 legs. Now, if Mark Cavendish had a reputation in cycling for crashing his fellow competitors out of the race, okay? If you go up against Mark Cavendish in a sprint event, okay, and you're 100 metres from the line and you're sprinting side by side with Mark Cavendish to see who gets the stage victory, right? If you do that against Mark Cavendish, right, Mark Cavendish is going to stick his leg out and he's going to boot you off the bike and boot you into the railings and you're going to be fucked up. Because that's how Mark Cavendish rides his bike. That's how Mark Cavendish rides his bike. If you try and challenge him for the win, he'll fuck you up. He will put you into the barriers and fuck you up. Okay? That's what Mark Cavendish does. And all of the other riders, they've got to ride differently against Mark Cavendish. Okay? They've had to learn to ride differently against Mark Cavendish because You know, they can race each other fine because they all know the rules, okay? But as soon as they come up against Mark Cavendish, oh, they have to beware because they'll know that if they go wheel to wheel with Mark Cavendish, he'll just fuck them up. So they all know that, don't they? Yeah, I mean, all the commentators of cycling, they'll tell you that, won't they? Or maybe no, because that doesn't happen, and nobody validates it. And if anybody did that, the sport would kick them out of the sport, and the commentators would tell you that is fucking disgusting. Not so much Formula One, though. Not so much Formula One. So, our Dutch friends, maybe that's one example that you may understand. Let's move on to the next sporting example. Football. Over the years, the Dutch have produced many world-class footballers. Clarence Seedorf was one of my favourite footballers, an absolute fucking legend of a player, and he did some commentary on the BBC or one of the British broadcasting channels. Thought he was awesome, okay? So, I'm a long time admirer of the Dutch. Jude Bellingham is our latest superstar. If Jude Bellingham didn't like getting tackled, right? If you try to tackle Jude Bellingham will fuck you up. Jude Bellingham will go in two-footed, okay, and he'll go in just below the knee and he will break your fucking shin, okay? Just because if you try and tackle him, that's what he's going to do, okay? You try and take the ball off Bellingham, he will fuck you up, okay? That's it. All the players on the pitch have had to learn that you just have to adapt your game against Jude Bellingham, okay? They've all learned that if they try to tackle Jude Bellingham, right, he will just fuck them up. So it's their responsibility to understand that, and maybe they should adapt the way that they play football to have to deal with the fact that that's what Jude Bellingham will do. Is that how football treats that? Or would Jude Bellingham be sent off, receive a suspension, and if he did it multiple times, would receive a lengthy ban from the sport? What would the commentators be saying? Would the commentators be saying that is fucking filthy? That sort of challenge is not acceptable in the game of football. It's absolutely disgusting. Leg-breaking challenges. Is that what the commentators, authentic commentators of the sport, would be saying if that sort of thing went on? You know it would be. Not so much Formula One. Not so much Formula One. All the other players have to adapt what they're doing, okay, to enable this guy to be allowed to challenge in an illegal manner, in a dangerous manner that's endangering people. Second example, is the penny starting to drop? Our friends from the Netherlands. Third example, these should be all sports that you are familiar with. Cricket. Okay, I don't like cricket. I love it. Picked a player with some ginger hair, bit of orange in there. Okay, so this player, Ben Stokes. Okay, Ben Stokes doesn't like being bowled out, right? If a bowler bowls the ball and bowls out Ben Stokes goes up to the other end of the pitch and twats that fucking bowler with his bat. Smashes the fuck out of him. Ben Stokes doesn't like getting bowled out. So, all of the other players, all of the opposition bowlers have learnt to not to try to bowl Ben Stokes out, because they know that if they do that, then Ben Stokes is going to go and smack them with his cricket bat. Yeah. I mean, all the commentators will tell you that. Yeah, they've all learnt to adapt their game when they're playing Ben Stokes because they don't want to get him out. You know, they don't want to try and overcome Ben Stokes because they know that if they try to overcome Ben Stokes will hit them. That's all right, isn't it? That's fine, isn't it? Or, no, it's not fine, is it? That's fucking disgusting. If any player did that, they'd be banned from the sport. Every commentator would call it out. They'd say it was disgusting. But not so much Formula One. Formula One would go, oh, it's a bit elbows out, it's a bit argy-bargy. Maybe all the other drivers will have to adapt their style to deal with it. Next example. Athletics. Okay? You see, I am a long-time admirer of the Dutch. Okay? This goes back before your boy even entered into Formula One. Okay? Long-time admirer of the Dutch. Now, imagine an athlete, okay, running round that track, and they're not restricted to their lane, so we're doing events of 800 meters or longer, so all the athletes are bunched up, and we've got one athlete, right, and they don't like being overtaken by anybody, and if you try to overtake that athlete, they'll crop you, they'll kick out, they'll boot your ankles together, and you'll end up on the floor. Okay, that's just what they do. That's what they do. They've bought this new style of super aggressive, elbows out style to athletics. Okay, it's the kids love it. It's really exciting. Okay, they love seeing the other athletes end up on the floor. It's super exciting for everybody. So yeah, all the other athletes have learnt to adapt. They know that if you're trying to overtake this athlete, okay, you have to be really careful because this athlete's just going to boot them and kick them so that they end up on the floor. Yeah, everyone's had to adapt their game because this new athlete has come along with this new style. All the commentators will tell you that. All the commentators will just tell you that that's just normal. That's okay. And it's the responsibility of the other athletes to deal with that. Or how about no? How about that athlete would get banned from the sport and every single commentator of the sport would be going, what the fuck is that? That is fucking disgusting. You're banned from the sport. But not so much Formula One. Not so much Formula One. Oh, we're watching the greatest ever here. We're watching the greatest ever. Who? Oh, he won't ever yield. He uses every part of the track. Oh, really? Right, yeah, that he uses every part of the track, Brundle. That's a bit elbows out. Oh, yeah, he'll never yield. All the other drivers have had to learn how to race this guy. Next sport. Britain's finest athlete, the 16-year-old prodigy, Luke Littler, throws miniature spears at a small target, will become a multimillionaire for doing so, but burst onto the scene as a 16-year-old and is up there with the finest in the world. Okay, I think he came second in the World Championship and has won many events at world level. Okay, Luke Littler, absolutely superb dart player. But the downside of Luke Littler, and this is something you don't know about Luke Littler, is he doesn't like getting beaten. Okay, so if you beat Luke Littler in a game of darts, if you kind of beat him in a leg, right, then Luke Littler will get one of his darts and he'll fuck it at you. Okay, he'll fucking spear you with it, and you'll end up with a dart in your head. All right. It's one of these things that the rest of the dart players, the rest of the professional dart players, have had to learn to deal with. So they've had to learn to play Luke Littler in a different way, okay? Because they know that if they beat him, he'll just fuck a dart at them and injure them. So you can't really try to beat him. You've got to let him win, because if you do try and beat him, he'll fuck you up. All right, that's why Luke Littler is so great. That's why Luke Littler is the world champion. Luke Littler is the best you've ever seen. Even though Phil the Power Taylor's got about 16 world championships, Luke Littler is the best we've ever seen. Apparently, even though you've got some Dutch lads, Van Gerwen, Barneveld, they've probably got several world championships to Luke Littler's none. Okay, Luke Littler is the best you've ever seen. Okay, and Luke Littler, he's probably got darts that have been developed over budget, and they fly to the target by remote control on their own. All right, no, I'm not gonna decry Luke Littler. He's brilliant, to be fair. But the point is this. That doesn't happen, does it? If it did happen, what would the commentators say? Would Luke Littler be banned from the sport for throwing a dart at another player? Yes, he would. Would the commentators be calling out that is disgusting? Yes, they would. Not so much Formula One. Formula One validates it. They tell you, oh, yeah, this isn't a disgusting way of driving. This is a new style of driving. He's come along with a super aggressive style, where the other drivers just have to jump out of the way of Max, otherwise there's going to be a crash. And you, as another driver, have got to deal with that. You've got to learn that if Max is there, if Max is in a similar area of the track to him, you must jump out of the way of Max, otherwise there's a fucking crash. And the sport and its commentators, every single bastard commentator in that sport says that. That is fucked up. That's fucked up. It's run by a media company. Okay? Media companies condition minds. They are conditioning minds. They are getting people to adjust what they deem to be acceptable. They are conditioning values. They are subverting culture. They did that in 2021. Fucking disgusting. That's what I saw happen. That is what's made me so passionate. It is fucking disgusting. You've got to stand up for what is right. Because, as that quote says, the only thing necessary for evil to triumph in this world is that good men do nothing. Do not let these fuckers subvert culture. Do not let these fuckers change people's values. They've already done it to this young and up and coming fucking generation of TikTokers, of fucking Instagrammers, these people with a 10-second attention span, these desire-driven fucking little wank boys, okay? These little wank boys that come up in the comment section that have no appreciation of what's truly important in life. They fanboy somebody that they like, and they don't understand the underlying values of all of this. Okay? Don't do nothing. Stand for what is right. Call out these bastards that are trying to subvert what is right in this world. Otherwise, corruption will get even more rife than it is now, and we will be able to do fuck all about it. That is what is going to happen. And it will be led by the media conditioning people to just accept it. That's the way it will be. We'll move on to the next sport. 16-year-old Luke Littler. Child prodigy. Oh, so we moved on to Formula One. 16-year-old Max Verstappen child prodigy who also burst onto the scene as a 16-year-old, and immediately you could tell that he crashed a lot. Didn't win anything. Didn't burst onto the scene and was an immediate success like Luke Littler. Daddy was a former Formula One racer. Like all of these, well, I say all of them, most of these boys in Formula One, Daddy is wealthy. So Daddy pays for his child to be involved in a sport where he gets presented to the world as being one of the 20 best in the world at this sport. Everybody hero worship my son. So I've paid for my son to be in this position, and you can all hero worship my son, and he can get paid £20 million a year for that. 75 million a year in the case of Max Verstappen now. He's done rather well, hasn't he? Done rather well. And the sport has to change for Max Verstappen. What is acceptable in the sport, what is fucking dangerous in the sport. Oh, the commentators can't call that out. The commentators have to pretend that, oh, we don't know the rules. We don't know whether what Max Verstappen is doing in this sport is acceptable or not. I mean, you could argue that it's okay and that all of the other drivers are doing it wrong. Or you could argue that, oh, it's just a little bit aggressive. It's a little bit elbows out. It's a little bit argy-bargy. Nothing dangerous or anything. You know, nobody's lives are at threat or anything. It's not a bad example to the kids who don't have the same level of skill, aren't in cars that are anywhere near as advanced in terms of protecting the drivers. And the kids will copy the shit that this cunt does and will end up dying. But the commentators won't tell you that. They'll tell you that you're watching one of the greatest ever. A generational talent. Oh, well, he would be. He's got the genetics for it, hasn't he? They've all got the genetics, haven't they? That all the Formula One drivers have got the genetics of either Daddy being a Formula One driver or Daddy being a billionaire. Oh, there's one or two that haven't. Strange that, isn't it? Strange that somebody that's not a billionaire can come along and fuck these people over and absolutely obliterate them. Oh, they don't like that, do they? They don't like that. But, you know, if you're the billionaire owner of the show, what message do you want to send out? He's a fake champion. He is now put up as the poster boy of Formula One. He drives illegally. He gets away with it. The governing body don't enforce the rules against him. They pretend that they don't know the rules. The commentators of the sport, every single one of them, presents this guy as being okay when the things that he does are in no way acceptable. And it's fucking people's minds. It's radicalizing people. It's giving people the wrong message. It's validating things in this world that are wrong. It's getting people to accept it. Think about that. When the media gets you to accept things that are wrong, what does that enable? It enables them bastards that are doing the wrong to continue doing the wrong, to get away with it without consequence. That enables corruption. Look at the bigger picture. Look at the bigger picture. You would not see that behaviour in any of them sports, and every other sport that you can think of, you would not see rule breaking and ungentlemanly conduct and sporting conduct, dangerous conduct not punished. You wouldn't see it, and you certainly wouldn't see the sports commentators validate it. But Formula One, they don't punish it, they celebrate it, and the commentators lie about it. They all act as though it's the best thing ever. That is fucked up. That is fucked up. So, Formula One is fucking broken. Formula One was broken the moment Liberty Media turned it into a fucking drama and scripted it. Put forward people like this cunt. Put him up to be idolised by the world. To screw with your fucking head. To change your values. That is what is happening. That is the underlying thing of what is happening here. Look at it. You get to accept, you think it's normal to accept stuff like that. You think that every former driver, that none of them drivers would have liked to have been on track with somebody that did this sort of thing. They're trying to compare him with drivers and say, oh yeah, he's just like some of the greats of the past, Schumacher and Senna. No, Schumacher and Senna did not do that at all. No. They might have had the odd moment. This guy's entire career is littered. Littered. The highlights reel, well, fuck me, it'd be longer than this video. It's disgusting. Formula One is fucked up. But the reason it's fucked up is because it's going to fuck with people's values. By validating what is taking place, it is fucking with people's values. It is subverting culture. It's disgusting. Thank you for your time. I apologise if people are offended by language, but this is really important and I am really passionate about it. And it's something that the world needs to all stand together and say no. We expect better. We've got rules in this world for a reason. They're for all of our benefit. The rules are there for a reason. Societies need rules. Otherwise, it gets ruled by tyrants. The same will happen. If you accept rule breaking, those bastards that are willing to break the rules will be the people who will profit. If there is no consequence, they will do it. They don't have a conscience. They will do it and they will fuck you over in the process. Quite happily. They've got no regard for you, no regard for me, no regard for any of us. They're narcissistic fuckers and they just do it for themselves. The man you're looking at on screen, he's got no regard for anybody else. And they've put him forward as the poster boy of the sport. Look, everybody, fuck everybody else, fuck the rules. Isn't it great? You are the world champion. Winner! If they can condition society to all be like that, then there'll be some, which is the people that are controlling the show, they get their nice yachts in the Monaco harbour. You're getting fucked over. And lucky, nothing you can do about it. Nothing you can do about it. Because society and its values have been disintegrated. They're gone. They went a long time ago. Thank you for your time.